Hello and welcome to your Mindset Reset Part 2. My name is Bianca and this is the Live Life Extraordinary podcast. The last episode on the podcast was all about why our mindset is so important, talking about how our thoughts help form our reality. They inform how we feel, the actions that we take in our life, and they're really the foundations to so many of the things that we're experiencing. If you want to take a little bit of a deeper dive into why mindset is so important, I'll link that video here. In that video, I give you 4 ways to start working with your mindset to have a more positive mindset. We talked about things like gratitude and affirmations, as well as the way that we're treating our bodies and doing an audit of our life. So if you aren't already practicing those 4 things, I encourage you to go back to that video and take a deep dive into each of those 4 practices. But immediately after I hit publish on that episode, my brain started saying, well, what about this practice? And what about that? And how about this? And so today I'm bringing you 3 more ways to work with your mindset to have a more positive mindset and a more positive overall life. The first one is a technique called EFT tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, which is sometimes also referred to as just tapping. There are specific meridian points in your body that you tap on while reciting a certain script. And typically the script starts out by describing the experiences that you're currently having, and slowly it progresses into more positive thoughts and feelings. So if you were tapping around your stress, for example, you might start by saying things like, all of this stress is taking over my body, it's taking over my life, I can hardly think straight. And then you'll start to get into statements like, but I'm doing this tapping exercise and I can already feel myself starting to relax. And by the end, you might be saying something like, my stress is melting away and I'm already having more clarity and I'm ready to start a new day. If EFT tapping is something you haven't yet tried, I'm going to link my free 5-day reset in the description box below, as EFT is one of the practices that we do in that reset to help us release stress and anxiety and improve our mindset. The second tool I really love to use to help rework my mindset is journaling. I find journaling especially helpful because you start off by bringing out all those conscious thoughts. I'm really stressed about this. I'm having decision fatigue. This is what's keeping me down. And then while you free write, more and more starts to come to the surface and you start to get clarity around some of the deeper issues that maybe you didn't even realize were present. So whether our thoughts are conscious or subconscious, they are still controlling our actions, our emotions, the results that we see in our lives. So it's super important to not just be able to rewire the conscious thought patterns that we're having, but also those subconscious thought patterns. It's said as humans, we have up to 60,000 thoughts a day, and that 90% of the thoughts we have today will be exactly the same as yesterday or the day before. Now, I know I'm not conscious of all 60,000 thoughts that I have, and so I'm sure that you aren't either. And so journaling helps create awareness and clarity about what's really happening within the mind, so that when we do other practices like affirmations or like EFT tapping, we know what issues to really focus on. And number 3 is meditation. In my 10 years as a yoga teacher, I have had a bunch of people tell me that they can't meditate, that their mind is too chaotic and they can't settle their mind, which is kind of the reason that they should be meditating. Meditation isn't about controlling the mind. It's about stopping the mind from having control over us. It's very infrequent in meditation that we actually have perfect clarity and perfect stillness in the mind. A lot of times the mind is wandering. It's thinking about what we have to do tomorrow, that work project that's unfinished, what we're having for dinner, and all sorts of other tasks that are present in our lives. But meditation works by having a single point of focus, like your breath, for example. And each time you notice your mind wandering away, being conscious enough to come back to that single point of focus. So you might find in a single meditation session, maybe you are very clear pretty much the whole time and you only have to bring your mind back a couple of times. Or you might find that your mind is pretty chaotic and you have to refocus pretty frequently. What this does is that it trains our mind to be more centered and more present so that we can focus on what's actually happening versus letting our mind always be on this crazy train and pulling us in any random direction, whether we want to go there or not. So you can think of the gym as a way to train your body and meditation as a way to train your mind. Meditation is especially helpful if you're someone who's an overthinker. It's going to be a struggle at first. You're not going to be great at it. You're going to lose your focus. You're going to feel like it's useless. But with lots of time and practice, you'll find that your mind is more centered and you're more in control of the thoughts that you're having, putting you back in the driver's seat of your life. Earlier in this episode, I mentioned that free 5-day reset. Not only is EFT present as one of the days for the reset, but also meditation and journaling. So if these are tools you really want to explore, I encourage you to click the link and get signed up to take all 5 of those days. It's completely free. There's a different practice every single day, and it's really going to help you start to have mental clarity, find relaxation in your body, and really become the best version of yourself so that you can create the best version of your life. Thank you so much again for tuning in to this week's episode of the Live Life Extraordinary podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you again soon.